Check, check, check. Check, check. Some technical difficulties. Let me know if we're back. Peace, peace, peace. Had some technical difficulties there. Let me know if we're back live. All right, back. My fault. I don't know what happened there. You pay $650 for the XSC and $200 for the, oh wow, you got great prices on those. Yeah, brother. Now the 60, I've never seen it for under a couple of grand, you know. So I think that's a great come up. Let me make sure the chat is showing. Okay. There we go. All right, so your messages should come up now. On the chat screen, on the actual, you know, on the video. But yeah, man, that's a great deal. That's a great deal. I'm reading the comments off of the phone. So sometimes I look down or to the side because I got my monitor right to the left of the camera. But yeah, that's a great come up, man. I wonder where you guys are getting those prices, man. I've been looking at getting like a rack, a Kai unit, or I definitely need a turntable, which will probably go like somewhere, let me see, that way, just so I could have a turntable again. And I'm looking at a few mixer options too, just to keep adding value, just to keep adding value to the channel anyway, or just to my setup, you know, because I do like to sample vinyl. But I know the difficulty oftentimes with vinyl is the copyright strikes when working on content like this whenever we do make beats. But yeah, man, good job on that score, on that cop. You know, I've been looking at what like to add to the studio next, because I'm not often buying new stuff. I'm usually buying things that fill a void in the studio, or just something that I've been coveting for a long time. Right now though, would you grab a sampler because you're a collector or a fan of what your favorite producer uses? I mean, most of my initial cops were because I was a fan of, you know, Kanye, obviously, and that was like what I was doing in not 2019, but like 2008, when I started looking at music production. So I finished college around 2008, and then that's when I started really, I had a studio in college, but when I started really learning about MPCs and things outside of the computer was with the MPC 2000 XL and then later on the ASR-10 through the forums, right? Because there wasn't a lot of pictures, and there were some articles of like people talking about the ASR and, Kanye's setup. And then obviously other producers that would go on to like influence me or be my favorite producers. Premier, Large Professor, for example, Marley Marl, and Timbaland, Pharrell. So all of these guys had, the ASR-10 in their atmosphere, if you will. Besides, like a SP-1200 wasn't something that was attainable at any point. They've always been expensive. So I think the 2000 XL ASR-10 combo was like, it wasn't unobtainium. So it was like still what one of my favorite producers was using, but something that I could realistically see getting. I saw Dr. Dre, obviously the famous picture of him with two 3000s, MPC 3000s, but they've always, the 3000 has always been expensive. So but yeah, most of the time personally I get things that I will use. So that's kind of why I got rid of the 2500 and the 1000, because I found myself not using them, and I didn't like using them better than the 2000 XL. So I said, you know what, like I have 2-3 MPCs lying around the studio. I didn't have that big of a studio, so I said, let me just put these up for sale and maybe get something else, but yeah, I'm not a collector. I mean, maybe you could say I'm a collector, but I think everything I have is now redundant, so that's why I don't consider myself a collector, because I don't have 3 different MPCs. Nothing wrong with that. Shout out to anybody that's working hard or whatever, is blessed enough to be able to have more than one MPC or more than one sampler keyboard. But for me, it's just, I have what I need, because that's just, my philosophy in the way I work. And also sometimes it could be a financial constraint or a space issue, right? But yeah, I usually buy what I use. And I've talked in my different points of views on the channel before, when it comes to like consumerism and gas. We're all guilty of it though, so I try not to preach, or I've been working on not coming off as preachy on the channel. The SM58 can do a lot if you know what you're doing, Neve the Official, especially if you like more raw vocal sound. But you can make it sound cleaner too. I think MJ used it on Thriller, funny enough, but the SM7B is dope also. Yeah, he used, to my understanding, the SM7, not the B version. So there is another version of the SM7, and also the 58. I think there's a lot of rock artists and pop artists that have used the 58. This is a modded SM58, but yeah, it's a standard microphone that delivers an honest vocal representation of the source, or an honest representation of the source, especially on vocals and on guitar cabs and anything you throw at it. So why not have $100 workhorse in your toolbox, right? I have an MPC 3000 LE and an MPC 60, also an S950, and yeah, man, you got the holy grail, bro. Those are pieces that you still wouldn't be considered. I mean, you could be considered a collector, but there's a way to put all of those things to use, right? Like a lot of times, because of the 60s limitation on sampling time, you use the sequencer and then you sample into like the 900 or the 950, right? And I think the 950 introduced a filter, or the 900 has a filter that's like very signature to it. I've never used the Akai samplers, and that's actually something that I've been eyeing. So outside of like, always wanting a 3000, I just don't feel like, dropping close to $4,000, which is what I've seen them go for in good condition on a 3000, would would be a good like investment for my use case, knowing that I have a 2000 XL with the 8 outs that I love using, and then I would have to kind of like relearn the 3000. I'll probably neglect the 2000 XL and go through this whole phase where I'm just like, I'm a Libra, so I will have option paralysis. But yeah, I think that you don't have things that overlap that much, so that but again, it's your life, it's your money, bro. Like that's love. That's a blessing to have those. I had to rock some SP1200, but I had to let it go, not by choice, but take care of the family. Yeah, man. You see, that also happens. I had to let go of a lot of studio gear, man. I had a studio with a partner at one point, and it just didn't work out. And I wasn't able to afford like the studio rent at certain points, and I was starting to sell a lot of gear because like I was holding on to the studio. And then eventually I just like said, hey man, I'm gonna end up selling everything, and the studio isn't making money. So I kept the things that I didn't want to sell, and then I got rid of the studio space. But yeah, brother, that's the reality of life. Sometimes we say we'll never get rid of it, but if it's family or MPC, I'm getting rid of that MPC. Of course, you could always get these things back, obviously not at the price that you might have paid originally for them, but they're out there, man. They're out there. But yeah, man, the SP1200 is also one of those pieces that I've always been curious about, and the fact that Rossum reissued them and recreated it in its the most authentic form is amazing, and I think there's a last run coming out or already came out of it, and those are always going to be worth a lot of money from what I see already. So not a bad investment to the people that work on them and already have them or want one. I think it's a good alternative to buying like a vintage unit that may come with issues. So that's great, that those are being reissued. Too bad like we don't see like a reissue of 3000 or the ASR-10, even though there's that reissue that keeps popping up that you guys brought to my attention. So let's see what happens, because I think now with technology and the fact that we're decoding a lot of things because maybe of the help of AI, we might see more and more pieces come to life again, or reissues come to life. Maybe that's the direction that we're going in, where we get reissues. But yeah, I mean, I was looking actually like on maybe adding a rack sampler, an Akai rack sampler to the setup. Before I do that, though, I do have to add a turntable, because I broke my turntable trying to scratch on it. Not a good idea. It was not an expensive turntable though, but a little sampler I have that I really enjoy is the 404 MK2. I think it's definitely the champ in the micro mini sampler world. Yeah, it was just I guess my algorithm obviously has a lot of producers in it, and I was seeing that S1 has been posting a lot of content with the 404 MK2, and I don't know if it's discontinued because I'm starting to see it less and less available. So maybe there's an MK3 on the horizon. I wouldn't be surprised, because the MK2 has some time already that's been out. But that is one piece that has caught my eye, and I've been like very close to pulling the trigger on the MK2. I love rolling stuff. I had a Juno 106 at one point along with my partner, but then in the and it ended up going by the wayside when the studio split up. But I love Roland stuff, man. They're amazing instruments. I've heard, obviously the whole menu diving and the workflow. Like it takes a while to wrap your head around it, but I'm always up for a challenge, especially when it has to do with making music and using samplers. I find that fun, to dig in and to go deep into samplers. Um, but yeah, the MK2 is dope, and it complements the ASR. I mean the MPC 2000 XL very well, because before the MK2, you would often see the 404, SX or any version, the 303, being used with the MPC, because many people wouldn't have the EB16 effects board in the 2000 XL. So you put a SP next to a 2000 XL, and you have sampling heaven right there. I've seen some amazing content and productions being done with that combo. So it always did catch my eye to get a SP in the mix, and it fits in that mini world like you said. So I like things that I could just throw on top of the throw on top of the ASR or next to the MPC, and it's not gonna take a lot of real estate on my limited studio desk. I don't think it would be hard for you if you know the ASR-10. Okay, nice, man. So I might cop a secondhand unit, bro. That I love the way it looks, man. That it looks like some Batman. Like, Nino, what up, man? I was just gonna shout you out. I don't know why. I had a feeling that you were gonna pop in, and when I was talking about diving deep in the 404, I was just thinking about how you mentioned that in the last couple of streams, that you're the type of person that likes to go deep into the workflow. I'm similar too, man. So like I dig into the inner workings of the machines when I'm on them. But yeah, it's been a KO2 week for me, man. I was away from the studio. So what I did was, interesting story, right? I took my 404 MK2, and I took this little portable battery. It's like a phone. I bought it to charge my phone when I'm at work, because oftentimes I'm not close to my it's a power bank, right? And then I was like, oh, I never thought about using it with the sampler. So I took it because I ran out of AAA batteries for it. So I am a little bit kind of disappointed that this doesn't have an internal battery. It would be amazing, just like the OP1, but it would probably cost more, right? So I took that. I took my my Sony headphones, and I took my aux cable with the dongle, and I was sampling off of my phone and some sampling apps into the KO2, and I made a beat. I'll probably play the beat. I made a few beats, and it was fun, man. It was fun. Like I couldn't take my laptop because I've been trying not to take the laptop out the studio. This is my laptop here. I only have one laptop. I do have an iMac, like an older one, but it's already like maxed out. The hard drive is like out of memory, so this is like my studio laptop. So I don't like to take it out of the studio, because if something happens to it, then I have no studio. You remind me a lot. Talk to him today, Dominican, who lives in the Bronx. Oh, that's what's up, man. Yeah, I was born in the Bronx, and I am Dominican, so that's probably why I remind you of him. But yeah, my brother, shout out to you, my bro. Yeah, and shout out to your brother, man. We come from the same place, so that's probably why we have similarities. Yeah, man. So I was working on the KO2 the last couple of weeks, and that's why I haven't been streaming. I've been coming home after like 14-hour shifts, very tired. So now I'm not working at the moment. So I was like, I rearranged the studio for those of you guys that were here the last couple of streams. So some pieces got moved around. I'm sure I'm not the only psychopath that that starts moving things around just to get inspiration, and also to make it better for the for you guys to see. Oh man, here we go. The infamous question. What up, NP4988? The infamous question. And the only reason I say it is because we get this asked on every stream, but nothing wrong with it. I'm gonna read your question. Hey man, does the ASR really have that knock distortion, especially the drums? I heard that from Timbaland and wanted to know. If you Nino, if you get the ASR, your sandwich mix. Nino's joking, man, but it has knock, man. It definitely has that knock. How, it depends what you mean by that, but what can I say, man? It's a great sampler. The 2000 XL has that knock too, though. So I don't know. It's like the one machine that I've heard, not even used personally, that has a distinctive is the MPC 3000. The 3000 has a very signature knock, if you will. When you hit the boost, there's like a boost function on the ASR-10 that does make the drums hit very hard. But depends how you work. I think that you could get something similar by using Decapitator, and that's what a lot of people have done. They've moved on from the ASR-10, but it does have a signature knock. Yes, I would say yes. Whether it's magical and worth the whole, oh man, I need to get this or else my music will suck forever, it's not. Recommend it to those producers that are over their 30s and having to work and juggle music, family, and work. You recommend what, Reynaldo? The 404 MK2 or the ASR-10? Yeah, Nino, please, man. You always give me good information that I don't know, like deeper information of what I hear. Like I could speculate on something and then you allow me to, or you enlighten me with the technical part of it, which is great because it ends up in the chat and it ends up enlightening everybody else. Yeah, man, it's like the old case of the 2500, right? Like people were saying that it sounded too clean, or even the 2000 XL, and now people come back to it and say like, oh man, it doesn't sound like, because the thing that keeps happening is that conversion keeps getting better and better too, and like the new MPCs, according to what people want, don't sound like these older ones. So okay, the MPC 3000 has a frequency response that follows pink noise. I have the original charts of its data when it was tested and came out. Yeah, I don't doubt it, man. Roger Lynn is like Rupert Neve, bro, like, and Dave Smith. Rest in peace, Rupert Neve and Dave Smith. But they were just like on another level when it came to conversion and knock, as far as like sonics, conversion, and even like rhythm, like the PPQ, right? Like that's a big thing about the ASR swing or whatever, how it sounds, and the 3000 swing too. Oh man, I love it. The chat is getting active. I know we just had to wait some time. I'm gonna read all the comments tonight, and I'm gonna play y'all the beats that I made. on the KO2 this last 2 weeks. They came out good, man. I think they came out good. I mainly use up stereo on the drums. Let me see. I'm gonna read it from the phone because it's going too fast, the chat. I mainly use up stereo on the drums and they knock, but I suppose, my fault, my nose itch. But I suppose you also need to start with quality sample. Good to know, man. They don't even sell them here in New Zealand. You got a gem. Yeah, man. New Zealand, I mean, it's tough because Ensoniq was an American company, and a lot of the people that were buying it were in the U.S. So they're circulating, but a lot of them in the U.S. for sure. Hard to get it, I imagine, in New Zealand. They're discontinued, so that's also a reason why you won't have a easy time finding one. But I'm sure, you know, they're out there. They're out there. Jay Plaza, what up, man? What's up, brother? I seen you, bro, on Instagram, and shout out to you, my brother. Thanks for showing love too on the channel always since the beginning. The 2500 sounds bad. I didn't like the sound of it too, bro. When I had it for a short time, and I didn't like the sound of it. I didn't even like the sound of the jog wheel. I talked about that before, so it just wasn't for me. I went back to the 2000 XL. I never sold my 2000 XL, luckily, and I wouldn't because it was a gift. And I think it's bad luck if you sell gifts. But yeah, I stayed on the XL instead of the 2500. But then people used to say that the 2000 XL didn't knock as much as the classic 2000, and obviously as much as the 3000, which I do believe is true. Like the 2000 has a different knock, and the 3000 also. But even when the 2000 classic came out, people were like, the 3000 sounds better, which it does. So that's always, the case. It's not is that we want to compare it to the old, and sound is subjective. Neve the official. I think the only time I would buy an Akai rack sampler is when I build my all analog setup around a Tascam. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've been so curious about the Akai rack samplers, and I want one. I don't know which one to get. I've seen all of them, and I like all of them. Up to the 5000, it gets a little overkill for me. But I like anything up to the 3200 XL or whatever is in that line. I do want to try an Akai rack sampler. That is in my list of things that I want to have in the studio. Well, we like pink noise, so that's why you mastered to it still 8. My fault, Nino. I didn't understand really that the master is still to 8. I don't know. Hilarious you mentioned Roger Lynn. I actually spoke to him on the phone today. Whoa, man. That's what's up, bro. You speaking to a legend, bro. That's like our hero. I dream of having an ASR. That's one of the best sampling instruments ever. Yeah, Neve, I mean, they're out there. They're out there. It's whether or not you want to pay the price tag that they've gone to. So when you shape things with pink noise, you won't make it sound bad. You can say you don't like the sound, but it'll never sound bad. That's true. We use pink noise to tune the speakers in the studio, in all of our studios. Commercial studios. So you're absolutely right. Also, just so you know, Nev Ed. Oh, okay, Nev Ed. Thank you for the correction, my brother. And it will be warm because of how the pink noise curve follows. They didn't necessarily do it on purpose, but that's how it worked. Emus knock. I don't know why everyone doesn't buy emus. Yeah, no, that's true. The emus do rock. They're like $100 all over the place. Was good, man. Once again, Jay, was good, brother. Meanwhile, they all want to chase ASRs, which are the worst workstations of them all to work on. Yeah, it's what we talked about before. It's the unicorn, brother, and also the hype. Obviously Kanye, he's or Ye, whatever he's calling himself these days, is a big part of the reason, man. It goes up every time he posts a picture with one, still to this day. Yeah, man, Jay's been on the channel, and I seen him pop up on Instagram. So, it's always love. When people show love, I show love back. Yeah, the 2000 XL could be muddy and dark, and I like that about it. So if you know what you're getting into it, the 2000 the classic doesn't have the bottom. It's just like, it slaps, like it's very snappy. That's the vibe that I got from it, but it hits in a different way. Yeah, great for snares. I was gonna say that. Yo, Ensoniq, what up, man? What up? Yeah, 6000 is the best rack sampler. Okay, I will check it out. And then Nev, I feel like my MP1000 sounded beef for them at 2500. I make it work though. I just feel like the main outs especially are a little thin. I don't know. Yeah, man, and the 2500s always have like this weird thing sometimes with the outs, like the left and right channel could be mismatched. It was a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think he went from like using them together. I just found my MIDI cable, so now I have the MIDI synced. But yeah, that's how I would use it oftentimes. Is I would just use it to sample phrases, and then I would do all my drum chopping on the. I like chopping drums on the MPC 2000 XL. I've said it before on the channel, because I figured out a way where I could do the Pete Rock style, like take a drum break. I could take any drum break, and as long as I get a perfect loop, I could play it back on the pads in rhythm, and it sounds good. I have a hard time chopping on the drums on the ASR-10 in that fashion, where I could take a drum break and do the whole, 16. I'm good with chopping the melodies on here, and obviously this is better for melodic samples. So I got it because I reached the limitations on the 2000 XL. So I figured like this was an evolution for me. This wasn't like me chasing a sound or chasing the ASR-10 for the sake of it. It came from the spirit of like what I was mentioning before. I get things that fill a void in my studio. It just so happened to be like I got this thing for like a third of the price of what you see them going for today. So I didn't overpay for it, I feel. Yo, Heatwave, what up, man? Nice to see you back, brother. Cash Gordon Beats, what's up, bro? Nice to see you again as well. I midied up the 4K with the ASR this week. Finally, it was like taking the training weights off, and yo, bro, I found my MIDI cables, and I'm like, yes, finally, because every time I was on stream, I wasn't like, not only on stream, but I want to keep working on it in that way. Like I like having another sequencer with the ASR-10 because it allows me to go deeper than just like the basic 8-track, and then append the sequence. And I like the MPC or the Akai sequencers better than the ASR. Obviously, like for Jake One, it works. Even Kanye, I see him now using the ASR by itself without a MPC next to it, or maybe he is using, because I do see him use the new MPCs, like in one of the clips that are surfacing the internet. So he's probably like sequencing it with a new live MPC, because they have MIDI, so anything that has MIDI could sequence the ASR-10. But yeah, I don't think the sequencer is the strong point of the ASR. It is the sonics, obviously. So, and whether that's a knock or not, I don't know. I think it's the effects section, and obviously the trans wave that we talked about before, but he doesn't use that for. Yeah, the 4K, it is an underdog, but it's still like respected, It's underappreciated for sure, but it's respected because the price, they still reflect that. The price of the 4K will show you. The one that's hated on the most, and I don't know why. Obviously I know why, but it's the 5000. Out of all of them, the MPC 5000 is the black sheep of the Akai family, besides the new ones that get a lot of heat. Ensoniq, interesting technical fact about the ASR. That boost feature brings the sample back to proper volume. ASR automatically lowers the volume on input, so there's headroom for layering. Yeah, I talked about that in the gain staging video a while back. It does it by 12 dB, and then normalize brings it up, I think, and then the boost ends up bringing it back to regular. Yeah, when you normalize and boost, you go over it. Yeah. And you clip like the outs. Yo, I don't know, but I saw Alicia Keys had a 5,000 in her studio for the longest. So I mean, she's an amazing producer and a musician, so it worked for her. And I know Swiss was on the 3,000 for the longest, obviously. Okay. I mean, I never used the 5,000. The only ones that I have experience with is the 2,000. And again, I've said it before, but just to reiterate, because you never know who's in here. The 1,000 and the 2,500. And they weren't for me. I did. You know what? I liked the 1,000 more than the 2,500 because of the size factor. I think it was onto something with that. That was the first of like the mini MPCs, and now we have the MPC sample. But I never had a chance to work with a 5,000. Yeah. I know one of my boys like that I met in college that started putting me onto MPCs because I was working with I come from the Sony Acid days. I I cracked Sony Acid, and then I went on to Reason, to FL Studio, Fruity Loops it was called, and then eventually I ended up on Reason, Ableton, and Logic. But when he put me onto hardware, he was using an MPC 5000. Nah, I don't use a floppy emulator on my ASR-10. I have the floppy. This is this is like this is like a floppy that comes in a pack of floppies. Like it's supposed to be the demo floppy, but I overwrote the Kai OS on. I mean the ASR operating system on here, and I do have. Where is she? Oh, I do have the Zulu, the SCSI. I have the Zulu SCSI with with a micro. Is this micro? Yeah, micro SD card, 8 GB. But I don't use this. I'm gonna connect this. I'm gonna connect this. I actually did come across. Where did I put it? Oh yeah. I have the cable finally for it. The power. And I'm gonna start using it because I paid for this like $70 and I haven't used it. But next time I turn on the ASR, I'm gonna use the Zulu SCSI, and I'm gonna wrap my head around it and commit to it. But no, I have the regular floppy. I don't wanna ever take out my floppy on the ASR. Oh, Nino, there you go. Yeah, I didn't read your comment, but now I am. I don't want to. I did change the floppy on the. If you see here, yeah, I'm gonna start getting out of the frame. I'm gonna stop getting out of the frame. I put my boy Rivers. He put in a not. It's not hot swappable, but I have a compact flash on the MPC 2000, which made sense for me. But I still have the floppy in a box, and I could go back to floppies on the MPC 2000 XL. But on the ASR-10, I'm not gonna go out. I'm not gonna go out and do that. Yeah, floppies are the way. I like the ASR-10. I just don't want to mess it up. Yeah, the SCSI route is the way to do it now with Zulu SCSI. But I'm not gonna keep like mutilating my samplers to add like I was about to go, because there's this guy on the forums that he changed he created a OLED version of the ASR screen, and I was gonna change it out because I've opened the ASR before. I changed 2 keys on it, and I need to replace the key bed because it made it was broken, and it's like just a little bit up. These keys, they work perfectly fine. And if you notice, maybe on camera you could see this key is a replacement one that I got from like Synthtor, something like that. It was like $10, but I opened it myself, and you could change the screen easy. Yeah, I think I have it on there. I'm not sure if I erased it, but I think I could also. I found a way that you could copy it from the floppy to the SCSI. I think I did it before. I've done that before. Yeah, my brother, the Nino disc. That would be dope, brother. And of course, man, we yeah, man, I love that. I love that you guys are um are building camaraderie in the chat and in the community, because that's what I like to have this forum for, is like, let's help each other out. Let's talk about the gear that we use, and if you're interested in it and have questions about it and you don't even use it, this is the place to be, because there's experts here, experts from like use, people that use the gear, experts. So that's the best place to. It's like being in a live forum. Before, you will have to type in the forum and wait for people to answer the questions like the next day. Here you get it kind of like in real time. If I'm on, and my community is here. That's fire, man. That's dope, Cash. And I'm glad you guys are like, building that kind of like camaraderie. Like I said, man, that's what the community should be about. I wish I could use a SP one day, man, or a 3000. That's dope. Remember when they had they still do have the groove templates for Logic Pro? I downloaded them before, and it had like the MPC 60 groove template, the 3000, the 2000 with the different percentages, and I would make beats and apply the groove templates to my beats, and it would make it sound crazy in a good way most of the time. But I lost all of that stuff when I updated my computer, and I like Logic 9, man. I like Logic 9 way better than the Logic X. It's like even using vintage software now is becoming a thing. I'm part of like this Facebook group, right? I think it's called Facebook group or community. That's called like obsolete software. That it's a cool group. If you guys like, I don't know who runs it, but it's like now having obsolete software is like having vintage samplers. And I got an old I'll bring it up. I got my I actually have my college computer, and I was able to like get into it, and I still have FL I have FL11 on there, which obviously like Southside still uses it if you're into trap music, and a bunch of other trap producers still use FL11. And it does sound different. It has that triangular panning thing that makes it sound different. So, not sending it MIDI, but intentionally using the ASR and Ensoniq and getting the same results. Yeah, bro, that SP swing is legendary, man. Like Easy Mo B, man, the Biggie beats, bro. That's a crazy swing. Yeah, but you know how making do anything swing wise in the ASR is. Yeah, it's very straight, but that became a sound too, right? Like when Jake One like made it like on those J. Cole beats, on anything he did for Ross, it kind of made it like, because people were using quantized drums again, and that's what the ASR is. It doesn't have swing. It has a very static like sound. What's dope on Pro Tools is you can extract grooves from WAV files. You can take the groove from the drum breaks and apply the groove to MIDI or another audio file. Yeah, there's a lot of program. I think Ableton could do that now too. You could turn it into MIDI and then replace it with different samples. I know that with Ableton you could do that. Something similar. Yeah, it's how the limiter was set up. It automatically had a limiter on it, but it's also the triangular panning law. If you go into the advanced settings, it does make it hit different. You know, obviously this been debunked, but my bad. My headphones are like, but it does have a certain sound that's a little different, I would say, after using it myself. I'm gonna put the computer like maybe in the stream one day. I have a old Windows. Yeah, Knots. I remember Knots. Seen some interviews with him too. He was using the SP and going crazy on it. I need to give my EPS rack more love. Oh yeah, the EPS rack is a beast, man. The 16. If you have the EPS 16 rack. I just got the MPK Mini MK4 because it has the MIDI DIN in the back now. Pretty convenient. Oh, that's dope, man. Not a lot of MIDI keyboards have abandoned the actual MIDI outs. That's good that they brought it back. Yeah, bro. You seen like, besides like rolls, like, you know, a lot like you said, they will be simple drum patterns on the ASR, because the programming and the sequencer and the swing is not there. Yeah, I've gone down the rabbit hole. I've seen like all those Knots video, Kev Brown videos, like for days. There was another guy that was like a beast. He used to come home from work and just like, I think it was Kev Brown, but just cook up, and I would watch that all day. An 808 kick cues the synthesized loops, then resample through effects a few times, and that squeak it does when it stretches. Yeah, I've always wondered what that Jake One bass was. He said it was like a stock sound from one of the ASR discs, maybe. I have a bunch of the old ASR floppies. Where are my floppy disks? I know I have a case here, but this is not all of them. I've been moving things around the studio, so some of my stuff is all over the place. But I've been organizing, as you guys see. If you guys were here before, the ASR-10 is closer now. Oh man, what am I doing over here? I'm covering the logo with the pocket operator, Rick and Morty pocket operator. Where's the focus? There we go. That was a gift, but yeah, it's kind of like a joke, because I love Rick and Morty. But yeah, let's see some of these. You know what I could do, because everything's connected right now, so I do have some. Let me see if there's any floppies in here. I got this whole floppy thing. I got more of these that came. Some of them came. Most of these floppies I got from the guy that sold it to me. Heat wave. I recently installed Reasons 4 on my Windows 10 computer and loaded some of my first beats. Pretty wild. It's still, yeah, man. Windows 10 is unbreakable, bro. I got Windows XP, I think, but I believe some airplanes still use Windows to run, to fly. So it's like, the Jake ASR bass, I think is the same one. Okay. Damn, I wish I could get my hands on that pink. Yeah, bro. I think it was Kev Brown, to be honest. I used to watch him cook up, I think, on the 3000, and then he would have like different MPCs. Sometimes he was like on the 2000. I watched that like when I was in college, so it kind of is a little bit blurry in my mind, but that's literally that made me want the MPC more than like Kanye ever did, I think all of these are blank, to be honest, bro. These are blank ones that I bought. Oh no, like see some of these, like some of the let me stop this real quick. Some of these discs are from the person that sold me the ASR before, so I'm not gonna take credit for it. And I don't know if I'll get in trouble for putting his work on here, but these are old. This is from '97. Like I don't. Some of them are corrupt, but they still load. He just gave me everything. He's like, here, take it. He's a film scorer, the guy. I forgot his name, but he's like, I don't use it anymore. I don't use the ASR, but he's like, let me load it. Oh yeah, you see file beat 1. But then the thing is, a lot of times you would have to load the sound, like the instruments. It'll say it on the disc a lot of times. Beat 1, disc 2 of, you see? So if I don't got the other disc, it's not gonna load any sound or what sound he used. This has drums on it, so let me just load this instead. I think it has drums. Let's read some more of the comments. I'll find it and send you. I need to hear it. I need an example to be sure. Thanks, Nino. Yeah. Maybe if there's a way. You know what? I never figured out how to turn those sounds into like readable files to put on my Zulu SCSI and then put it back on the ASR. Yeah, bro. Yeah, Kev Brown was what sealed the deal for me to get a 2000. I'm like, nah, I need a cookup like that. But he was obviously, he is very gifted. Tape lid 6064. What up? What up? I think is the first time I see you on here. Welcome, brother. I must have gotten around 100 floppies from the guy I bought. Yeah, I got a lot of floppies from the guy I bought my ASR-10 from. That's love, man. I think that's love when somebody gives you all their floppies. Like if you buy a old sampler from them, that's very personal and also like must be a big move, He gave me 2 SCSI drives as well. I got like one of them is actually a what is it? A glyph SCSI, which is expensive. Junkie XL. He has a no. I don't think it was Junkie XL. It was a guy in Manhattan in Soho, but I never heard of him, or I don't know what his full name was, and I don't even know if I have his name anymore. I copped in 2014 around it. My iOmega. I always wanted those iOmega zip drives. Oh, nice, man. Yeah, you got your ASR way before I got mine. I got mine in 2014 around there. I like floppy, bro. I like floppy. I just don't like saving on them, but I like to have the OS, you know. Let me see. Load instrument. Oh, look. Orthosonic, whatever that is. Pick instrument button. Let's see what Orthosonic was. Some of them like load up and some of them are corrupt now. But yeah, I don't mind floppies, man. They're annoying and they're slow. Obviously, like the guy with Zulu Scuzzy, it's better, but I also like don't understand the structure. We talked about it before. And wait, this is I also have my MPC MIDI'd over, so I gotta make sure that's not the Orthosonic. Oh yeah. Let me unload this drum kit. So look, this is like Orthosonic, whatever the guy called it. That's loud. But yeah, definitely sounds like Orthosonic. Pretty cool. But yeah, that came with my ASR. I can't take credit for that. Oh shit, my fault. But it's love, man. That's love when they give you these floppies. I have 100 copies of the OS on floppy. Yeah, man, that's it right there. What's the? I wonder if he put the oh look, you see the wave samples at 85. The boost is off. On that one, the boost is on because it's a kick. That's nothing there. This hi-hat is like a 808. A little chirp sound from the, sounds like the two-way pages. It's a pretty cool kick. What else is on here? I like that you could take the floppy out and then reload it. Ride cymbal. So this has like 2 instruments. And this is from 97. Look. So this is probably as old as some of the people that may or may not be in here from September 25th, 1997. And it still works. Let's load up. Load instrument whir. That's cool. We could make a whole going through old floppies segment. I know some people like Al, especially that had that low tone bass that sounds, I'm guessing Alchemist, like a low pass square. I heard the ASR kind of has that loaded by default, you know. Yeah, I'm going to show it to you right now, Nev. ASR doesn't have anything loaded by default. It can't create a tone and work from there. Yeah, it doesn't. That's what I know what you mean, Nino, but he means like when you create an instrument. But yeah, it doesn't load it up automatically. So you're right. But you could make it create a wave sample and it'll be like what he's talking about. What Nev is talking about. Yes, heat wave, exactly. You can create a sound from a wave that can be generated, so he probably tweaked that. Yeah, you could. That's what. Yeah, that's what most people mean when they mention that part of it. And then you could also synthesize that. So that's why they say like the ASR is a synthesizer. It has a tone. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I haven't heard Alchemist's whole catalog, so I can't deny nor confirm that. So this is just like symbols. Wait, I'm still on the first file. My bad. It's just one symbol that was pitched, I guess. Oh, it's a pattern symbol. Yeah, he did like this symbol and then like a little, like, but yeah, I've gone through some of these like, and then made copies of the one that I like. And look at this, Studio Vision Pro. If anyone ever worked with that, here is the install master of Studio Vision Pro, disc 1 of 2. I don't know if I have this 2 of 2, but that was in the thing. And I also have a Dell Windows 98, 95, and Windows NT setup disk. But yeah, I've gone through most of these. DigiDesign Wave Driver. This is like the originals Pro Tools thing. What else? DigiDesign Utilities discs. Okay, so then this is what I'm talking about. This is what I was looking for. So these are the original Ensoniq ASR-10 Essentials discs. Some of these work, some of these are corrupt. So and you see this is a trans wave revelation, so we could hear the trans wave sound of the ASR-10. I hope this one works, but some of these don't work. And I know you could buy these on eBay. Sometimes they come up. So let's do the load and see what's going on while I read the chat. Thank you guys for rocking with me, by the way, man. I'm happy that we have more and more participation each time I stream, and I added a light, so it's not as dark anymore. I hope you guys don't mind that I'm not in the dark, which is what the channel was before. But I added a light and I moved things around so that the ASR-10 could be visible and not have people complaining that I'm giving my back and that I'm not showing the screen and this and that. All right, let me catch up. Yes, only thing I know that has something loaded by default is the tone is the S950 and the 900 as well. Okay. Yeah, what he means is the create a wave sample will create a tone. It's not by default, but you have to do that. Cash, I'll show you what it sounds like in a second. Nino, if you mean Alchemist, he doesn't use, okay. And if you hear him talk about ASR drums, he would get them how he wanted before sampling because he said it lacked the bottom. That's true. Freeplay, you should open a Discord. Maybe we can all jump on a Google Meet or a group video call. Yeah, I'm not. I've used Discord before. I'm like a dinosaur. I'm not super tech savvy. I am tech savvy, but maybe I will if there's enough interest. I'll do a Discord. Yeah, I mean, MPC 2500 Al did bring a lot of classics too, like with the new currency stuff. But you know, obviously, there's nothing like the Prodigy Mob Deep beats, bro, and even the Jada Kiss and Locks records. But yeah, no, of course, man. I think like it would have been interesting, and I think he still goes on the ASR every once in a while. But it would have been interesting to see what that would have continued to sound like, him on the ASR his whole career or more often. Platform by Dilated, that bassline sounds like a low pass square, not subby like an 808, mind you. He's used it on a few others. He also had a Moog and Triton at some point. Yeah, Moog or whatever, Moog. I'm not like one of those that's like, no, this is how you know. I know there's a right way to say it, but it doesn't matter to me. Yeah, when I had an original EPS, it came with some EPS and OG EPS disc with sounds. I kept those when I sold it. Al does have some dope synths, keyboard beats too. That's just standard stiff bass on there to me or SX1. Yeah, so it could be. Obviously, like, you know, there's a lot of ways to find out what it exactly was. So there's a piano bank here. There's a grand piano. This grand piano I like. So it's this works. And Revelation, I made a copy of this disc actually. I've seen it. Yeah, man. I seen he has a few. He has like three or four. I mean, obviously he has unlimited money at this point, probably if he's managed it right. But he could buy an ASR whenever he wants. It's just he. I think that because the way that the 2500 works, it has a similar way that you. It doesn't have the same workflow, but it has a way that you could adapt the ASR-10 workflow to the 2500. And obviously the input monitoring is like, there's a guy that I saw recently on Instagram saying that he started to hack the code or whatever, the OS of the 2000 XL, and he's asking people for like what you would like to see. Like he could JJOS the 2000 XL operating system. That might be fire. That might be fire. And I told him that if we could get input monitoring on the 2000 XL, like I'll never need another MPC. See, look, this data corrupted. So that's the that's the evil of floppy. But I think the Revelation transwave thing does open. So let's try that. I've seen Studio Electronics. Yeah, I was seeing that. That's that colorful looking thing with the buttons, right? It looks like a rack. There's common toys everyone had at the same time. Yep, that's true. Yeah, yeah. I've seen it. I've seen him, little clips here and there. He still used the ASR. It's just like, you know, because of USB and like he has mad compact flash running around, it's easier to save on the 2500. It's faster probably for him to work. He's fast on the 2500. You know who made him get a 2500? A-Rap Music. I actually saw like those sessions where he's like watching A-Rap Music working on 2500. He was still on the ASR-10 when that, and he's just like, A-Rap is showing him beats, and he's like, oh, and then he went on to the 2500. JJOS type OS on that will literally give it a new life. Yeah, brother. So this guy was able to like start like doing like he just changed the startup. Yeah, the ATC one. That's the one that I've seen from Studio Electronics. Is that the same Studio Electronic that made the? Oh no, that's Studio Projects that made the B1 microphone that I have. But yeah, Studio Electronics. I think I have their pop filter if it's the same Studio Electronics company. Um, yeah, no. Also, remember the 2500. Not only the compact flash card, you could connect the USB on the back of the 2500, and your computer reads it as an external drive. So it's even easier than putting it on the card. You could just put it straight on your on your desktop after you're done. You could save it on your card and then connect your 2500 with the card inside of it, and then it'll read the 2500. It's like a card reader, and like connect it straight to your computer. So I think that, outside of the fact, and obviously you're a 2500 user, it sounds like, but, I think just logistically, like from a studio perspective, having the ability to connect the card, I mean, the unit directly to the computer without because what I have is usually like for my camera, I have one of these, card readers and stuff. And I have one for the for the 2000 XL because I use compact flash. But I don't really like transfer files back and forth to the computer and the samplers. I'm one of those guys that kind of like when I work on them, and on them I mean the samplers. I go straight back to the DAW if I have to dump anything. Let me see Revelation thing. This was a good instrument. But I think that it is loaded. It's a trans wave, this thing. This is kind of cool. That's a trans wave, according to edit wave. Let's see if it yeah, it is. So it's a sample basically, and it's modulated. If you go into it, it'll show you everything as far as like it's a looping wave, and it's pretty cool. Then you start adding effects to that stuff, and it's like you got, like that used to come with the ASR. The teenage engineering thing is getting in my way. It's kind of annoying me. Don't you like? Don't you feel like samplers and some of these toys are like little kids? Like they just like get in the way and start like bothering you sometimes when you're trying to work with other stuff. Man, that dude would never spill the beans. But honestly, if he did, it wouldn't change much. I feel because they can only. Yeah, I mean, I think most of the stuff has been debunked on the. If you know, like if you know, like if you work on the ASR-10, I know by watching people work on it what they're kind of doing. Like I know I saw Jake one like use the auto chop thing that I've shown on my lives before, where you modulate the start point of the wave sample from the keyboard. And that I learned from a YouTube video that somebody else put out. I just can't find the video anymore, but just get a 4000 and you're good. Mod it to have SSD drives eject out the front and never deal with. Yeah, I was looking at a 4000, man. If you find a good one and a blue one, I hate the white one. Let me know, bro. I would consider buying it. I love Preem, but I think he takes the gatekeeping trophy. I mean, there is next to zero footage of him making beats. You know what it is? Is because it's not really like. I think once you lift the veil or the veil, it's just like not enough people dedicate the amount of time that these guys do to producing, but it's the same process that we all know how to do. It's just they found the sample first or flipped it a certain way. It's not, or have the connections too. But if you get really good, man, all your beats are gonna be just as good. There's people that don't got placements that got beats that are crazy. Sometimes it's just the opportunity meeting the talent at the right time. Yeah. Yeah, and it's also sample sourcing, right? Like knowing what samples to use. Being a good DJ, like Large Professor is amazing at like finding the right samples, and so is Eric Sermon and those guys, and Che Pope that's on the Kanye camp is like bringing you like, oh, sample this. This is gonna sound good over this, and like combining things, and even recycling stuff that was working before and we just didn't know about it. Mod Chop was Timbo's whole bag. Yeah, the Mod Chop thing is like the white one hits harder. It's true. The 4000. I just like the way the blue one looks. Not the new the new blue one. I don't know. I'm like so conflicted about these new releases. Tim really one of my favorites for real. Not to get all negative, but his recent activity, so to speak, hurt. Yeah, Nev. I mean, they say never meet your heroes, right? But his genius is undeniable. Even though like I came later to find like a lot of his collaborations were also ghost producers, and that was the culture in Virginia. But yeah, a lot of ghost producers not getting their credit until later on, like Danger. Yeah, and yeah, like you said, shout out Danger. I mean, his late '90s, early production was so phenomenal. Even when he got super pop, Timberlake, it went crazy. Yeah. Oh yeah, word. Yeah. No, I haven't really done it a lot on the 2000 XL because I do love to just find the loop and do the 16 chop thing, which I mentioned now that with the update you could do the equal parts chop um on the KO2, but I'm like, why can't they just give us access to the 16 uh pads on here? Nah, he's not disgruntled because that was the culture back then. It's kind of like being an intern, right? Like I didn't get paid to work in the studio for like 2 years, so I'm not mad about that. That was just part of paying your dues. And I think like he also realizes that maybe if he wasn't ghost producing and or just producing, because like again I'm saying ghost producing like he didn't get royalties or credits, but that's their business. He wouldn't be, maybe not been in those rooms that Timbo put him in. And there's another producer too. I forget his name, but he recently did some stuff for Ableton, and he was a big weapon for Timbaland when he went into Ableton, and giving him sounds. I don't like Mod Chop on the ASR at all. Says Nino, cause you can't edit the points after. It's good to get some random hit ideas and go back in and manually do. Yeah, that's what I use it for. I use it as a like, oh, I would have never used this little chop if it wasn't for that. And when I like it too, when I have like a crazy piano sample that, like, let's say I use like a jazz piano that has mad chords, like just playing at different not, it's not timed because it's like free jazz. Then the mod chop will give me like that random, like maybe a chord here that I would have never thought of chopping it that way. Like even chopping it not on the one, chopping kind of in between chops. And I like to play that while I'm playing a loop on the MPC, kind of like how y'all mentioned before that Alk likes to quantize the drums to hit on the one and on the three, or the two and the four with the snare, or the three with the snare, and then just like be more loose with the sample. I think Mod Chop is excellent for that, and on melodic. Is Velocity Chop how Dilla used to do it? Because the cutoffs when he would trigger different chops would always be super smooth, not like overlap. The cutoff could be super smooth for different reasons, and again, I don't know his technique, but he used the 3000 a lot. Does the 3000 have mute groups or mono sampling? Because that could be it. Yeah, Sound Oracle for sure. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. And I was following his stuff too a bit. So yeah, I feel like, hey yo, shout out Tim because he's great. But like he always had a little like Batman and Robin. He had a little psychic the whole time, you know. So then there's always like, you know, which ones did we know about, which ones didn't we know about, and which one was it just him producing the whole thing? You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with collaboration. But I think for the longest, there was a lot of ghost production going on in general. Like even Ye talks about like he was ghost producing, I think, for Jermaine Dupri at some point. Correct me if I'm wrong, you know. And again, no disrespect to the legends. Like these are producers that have influenced and changed the game. So we're just like, this is what the community does. Like we talk about this kind of stuff. Yeah, no, and a producer obviously is like Quincy Jones. Like Quincy Jones wasn't on the MPC making beats or like playing the instruments. He could. He was a composer and a producer. But you're absolutely right, man. That's why I laugh, because it's like, when we think we talking about like Alchemist on the ASR, like cooking up a beat. So like when we talking about Tim, is like on the ASR, like was he just even that video of him with Ye doing the drums for Stronger, he got like his assistant there with him, and that's part of being a producer. Like you have a team. And even Ye has like 15 rooms going on with people making beats in FL and Ableton and MPCs. It don't matter. And Mike Dean helping him a lot. So it's not nothing wrong. I'm not saying it as a wrong thing. I'm just saying there's some behind it, like some like Tim as the thing, but you don't know who's doing what is kind of what I'm trying to get at. Yeah, I wouldn't know for sure because I just use MPC, maybe MPC with the program in mono mode on the 2500. I just know 3K only lets you mute up to 3 pads. I think, I don't remember. I know with the 2000 XL you can mute up to 2 pads, up to 2 pads per pad, and put things in mono. Yeah, you don't need mute groups. You could just, like you said, you could put it in mono. Fixed points thing. I immediately after I sent that message, I imagined for a micro chopper like him, that would be a major downside. Tim made hits, Dre made hits. Yeah, man. Of course, you got Mike Elizondo, right, playing the bass on the Dre stuff. Nah, yeah, that's what I'm getting at. I agree with you, Nino. I'm not. I'm just. I'm being lighthearted about it. Like, I'm not. I'm not like. I'm not trying to curse, but I'm not trying to S on him to say like he was using danger and not. That's part of being a producer. It's like if A Major was here, right? Like I would have him play the keys. I can't play the keys. Yeah, man. I'm not. I'm not discrediting him at all. I'm not discrediting Timberland or any of those legends. Again, respect to the legends. It's because he had ideas that needed to get out of his head, like beatboxing, and then needed someone who could get it done faster. Yeah, no, that's part of it. Michael Jackson was, beatboxing, and then I'm sure like Ronnie, like Darkchild was doing it for him on his MPC 3000, or even had somebody else come in and program. Like you look at the credits on any of these albums, you'll see like produced by, let's say, Quincy Jones, but then you'll see drum programming. That was what a MPC player was before, or a Lin drum player was the drum programmer. It wasn't the producer. And then you had like, even the Moog was credited as something different than the bass player. So there's nothing wrong with that. I was just like, a lot of stuff, like when we mentioned, like, let's say, like Alchemist, maybe like, does he have a lot of people come in and play stuff for him, or like is he known to collaborate with some? Nah, you think of like even, I don't know, like some of the other producers, not all of them, because even like I said, like Kanye will have Mike Dean playing, or Anthony Kilhofer or Jeff Basker playing stuff on his stuff for him. So, and gave us Graduation, right? So. Yeah, no, of course, of course. But that's ignorance, because they don't understand. Like everyone has, it's not just Drake and 40 making an album. Maybe they have at some point, but you got, You got Boy Wonder, and you got a bunch of other endless amount of producers on these albums. So I just can't even name them because there's like 100 producers on a Drake album. So nothing wrong with that. You get a classic. Yeah, no, he got down on the ASR on anything. You could tell he likes to tweak. You know, he's like all of us. Yeah, yeah, man. Let the legends be the legend. His drum sound signature. I saw a video of him messing with the MPC sample, and you could tell is a Tim bounce. He has that bounce. That's just his way of programming or like making beats. Cause his bop, and even when y'all said beatbox, yeah, like when he beatbox is like on another level. Yeah, thank you, Nino. Yeah, but it's mostly like just to clarify it, cause maybe because I said it, and if somebody's walking through, and I say walking through, it's just like a live may come up, and then you're like, you know how things get clipped out of context. It's just gonna become one of those things. I think in the future, it's like, oh look, this guy was talking smack about Timbaland not doing everything himself. I do think when stuff gets murky, like what did someone do and didn't do, when yeah, that's what happens. Every mega producer always had a team, and that's what made you a great producer. It's like knowing who to call when you need strings. That's just the reality. Yeah, RZA's and the Preems are before that era, and that's also why certain beats from certain eras has simplicity too. Like when it came to hip hop, because you didn't have like, I could go get a session musician or could get a string section to come play on my stuff. You were working like a Pete Rock, let's say. Like he has a way of working that is just like he's gonna do probably most of it himself, if not everything himself. But it has that signature sound because it's just like it's all sample based, it's all done on the SP 1200 or the 2000 XL, and it's all records. It's not gonna have like maybe like somebody go play live bass on it because that was the West Coast sound. But there's nothing wrong with collaboration and having a crazy team, because the people that look at the names that we're saying, they're people that have made amazing records and pop hits and hip hop history. Yeah, that's how they became mega producers. Exactly. That's how Chad and Pharrell. They became mega producers too because of their collaboration. And from Atmosphere is a very underrated SR10 user, in my opinion. The production on the early Atmospheres album through 2000 was always amazing. I gotta check them out. Tape lit. I'm not privy to that. Maybe like I'm missing out crazy. And that hasn't come across my radar. Something that maybe I didn't get put on. Too. I gotta check it out though, because I love ASR10 production. A lot of times you have the main producers like a Mike Dean fixing up whoever's beat got recorded too. The main producers have the more professional touch. I know. Yeah, and they sometimes also have more musicality as far as like theory knowledge. So they could add like more colorful chords and arrangements around something you have already. I have read an interview um on like Ye back in his Chicago days, where he would come to a studio, rent out studio time, have a whole bunch of beats on his MPC and like even ASR probably at the time, track them out, take it to the studio, and like have the guy obviously like mix it for him, and then like if he wanted to play stuff over it, he would like spice up the samples, and that's how made your stuff better. You want me to do the 16 level bass line, or can I get Chuck Thompson to lay it on my soul sample? Yeah. Nah, it's true, man. It's true. That's what made it great. Yeah, bro. When he was doing what Aaliyah was crazy. I remember that. These are like these records define my youth. I lived in the DR from in the Dominican Republic from 1992 to 1995. So I came back. I was like 10 years old, 9 going on 10, and you know Aaliyah, R. Kelly, the Reasonable Doubt record. This is what the No Way Out record. The Biggie records. This is what I was like. The Nas records. Being in New York at that time in 96, 95. This was like what my ear was starting to like pick up on and seeing like now going back and saying like, oh, who produced those records? Is everyone, the Jermaine Dupri's, Timbaland, everybody that we always mention on the channel, all the Mob Deep stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like Alchemist and even Havoc. So we gotta always give credit to like the legends. It's like these are for me defining records and producers. So I don't care how they got it done. Dr. Dre, obviously, all the West Coast stuff, Tupac, and everybody else that I'm not mentioning, right? That made part of these records. It's like my hats off to them. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what made me even not. I never thought I could even get to like touch any of these instruments because I was just a listener back then. It wasn't until I later on got to college and after college that I'm like, oh wait, like this is how these records were made. And then I remember seeing an MPC 60 when I was in 4th grade. I believe it was the 60 because it must have been 1990, 96. And a substitute teacher brought an MPC to class. He was a substitute music teacher, and he brought an MPC to class. And I was amazed. I think he brought a 62, the cash register looking one. I've heard him mention here before, Necro, Heat Wave. I'm not sure if I checked it out. I heard of Brother Ali too, so maybe I have heard of Atmosphere. How do y'all feel about Track Masters? I know they're polarized at the time, but they made a lot of bangers. Yeah, no, they're legends. They're legends too, Nev. Yeah, I remember. I think it might have been Nino that somebody mentioned it to me or on my channel made a comment and they were telling me putting me on to Necro. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but as an ASR-10 user. Yeah, I mean, there was another Jake One video where he showed that he did the drums completely in Pro Tools at one point, and it's like once you have your sound dialed in, it's like what it should hit like, so you don't need the ASR-10, especially if you already loaded and like have a lot of your samples saved. Okay. But yeah, man, like a lot of the stuff that we think is like the machine is also like once you've mastered it and found your swing, is like the way that anyone is gonna make a machine sound or a sampler sound is gonna be very, very personal because of the way that you approach it. there was that clip recently that I saw, Bink saying that he basically gave Chad, and Chad confirmed it, like the Neptune's drums. And Bink had the Neptune's drums then before the Neptunes did, but the way that Chad and Pharrell were programming them was unique to them, and it came all from a breakbeat vinyl that he got like in New York or whatever he said, or somewhere in the East Coast. But that was ASR-10 mostly. Most of the stuff that Pharrell was doing at that time, I know they had an ASR-10 rack even in the tour bus. Yeah, man, I love the Beat Nuts, bro. That's another you know, defining record for me, as far as like things I grew up with. That later I was like, wait, like who produced this and what? I was always intrigued to go back to the machines that made those records. Domingo. You guys are putting me on to a lot of stuff, man, because as much as I've done most of my history, there's always things that you don't know. And the deeper you go, it's like the better it gets. I got all these salsa records that I was given, which is interesting. And I'm trying to. It's Dusty in here, man. Dusty Fingers. If you guys remember those records. Yeah, man. Bink to me is like, cause I love the Dynasty album, and he's all over that. Yeah, man. I love Bink. Domingo was insane. He has that out type sound. Marley Marl's protege. All right, check him out. I think I might have heard it. I might have heard Marley Marl mention him. I've seen a lot of Marley Marl interviews. J Zone. Yeah, man. I love 1-900 Hustler. That's those are the records, man. That I was like, that was, man, for me. I think high school already, so that's what I was listening to. He was on the ASR-10 too, I think, or a lot of different machines. I seen those older interviews with him. 4,000 too, I think. Bro, Capital Punishment, bro. That's like one of my favorite records of all time. It must have been probably like the consoles, that were being used also at that time. And then I would go back and like, I mean, now with Apple Music, right? You could see the credits on the mix. I wouldn't be surprised if the common culprits are on the credits for the yeah. This I now that you mention it, I haven't heard it in a minute, but I must have burned through this like 1,000 times in that summer of '98 when it came out. Leon Zervos. So they don't got like the producer credits on here. Some of these got updated, you know. Yeah, they do. Oh, so you see, like Beware, Juju of the Beatnuts, programming, producer Juju, Paul Gregory, assistant engineer, Chris Conway, Nikos Teneketsis, assistant mixing engineer, Ken Duro Efil, which Duro is mentioned a lot, Leon Zervos. Yeah, that's the Sonics right there, man. These are super lyrical. These mixing engineers, bro, they're like legends across the board. Producer Dana Stinson, Leon Zervos, Troy Hightower. Mastering, mixing and mastering, I'm gonna always go for that. When you're talking about Sonics, obviously the producer is like the vibe, but the engineer, man, not even tracking, because I'm a tracking engineer by trade for the most part, but when the final mix and master has that's what Leon Zervos, he mastered the whole album. Then obviously I'm guessing people mix different tracks. Ted Wilson on Still Not a Player. Christian Delater, tracking engineer. But that mastering, bro, that's what you want. The Dream Shatterer, that's one of my favorites. I mean, this whole album, top to bottom, is like, oh, Domingo, there you go. He made that beat. We were just shouting him out, right? It's the same person y'all talking about. Shout out to him. Leon Zervos again. So we look up Leon Zervos, and I bet you he mastered in that era all the dope stuff that we like. I wouldn't be surprised. It's like when I read the back of the vinyls, bro. It's like the same legends on every song. You see the new guys, the Andrew Schreps, the other people that we know now, but Chris Conway, I've heard of Chris before. Twins too, that's what crazy one too. I'm gonna go. This is the last one I'm gonna look at. Leon Zervos again. But yeah, that's that knock. That's that knock, bro. Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm sorry I went out the chat to read the credits on Apple Music, because that's the best way I've been looking at it nowadays. Capital Punishers definitely mastered well. Hell on Earth was also Chris album. Yeah. Loud Records knew what they were doing. I love Boomerang on that album. I think Hell on Earth sounds like crap. I saw the new Sean Price was announced, but sadly the cover using I'm fine. Yeah. AI, man. It's like the death of creativity in a way. Yeah, it's dope when you could tell when somebody got a piece of equipment because of the things they're doing on them. And that's something like only producers would notice, which is fire. Yeah, Doro's, legend. Herb Powers. Yeah. You could tell the sound, man. Like when a lot of stuff, even when he went to I think he had the 4,000 at one point when Havoc had the 4,000. You could see the difference. And then when he went to Machine, I think at some point too, it's like, I don't know why, but like especially at that level. Like I wouldn't have left like the 4,000 or the 3,000 for Machina or whatever you call it. Yeah, EPS 16. Yeah, if you go back, man, to those records, like even any classic record, it's like you're gonna realize like things. Even the Dre stuff, obviously the most known stuff, the Chronic and the Snoop Dogg stuff is just like Warren G. It's like, come on, man. We talking like crispy SSL Neve mixes on crazy boards. Yeah, I think Havoc was on the EPS. Then at the end, he was like, not at the end, cause he's still making beats or production, but he was on the 4K too on the video that I saw. I had I'm gonna play this. I kept playing the loop, but I had started to do some drums on this. This was all on the KO2, like when I was at work, and I had mad fun, like just. Yeah, Eric Sermon is infamous for that. Korg W30, mostly all the time. Yeah, and then the motif. He talked about it in that there's a radio interview like he recently did. He's working with Ye recently. Yeah, probably those emus, like you said, the emu models, the Planet Fat, and then the Pro Tools, Pro. I don't know how to pronounce it. 2000 Proches, 2000. I was seeing one, man. They come up, so it's like everything is an ASR-10, and MPC. There's some dope samplers out there that we ignore because we just know like the top two samplers. It's like knowing just the top two producers, right? I wonder if it's hard to use the W30 because it has waveform and it has the variation slider, just like the data entry slider on the ASR-10. I never used one. I remember my boy Ivan from high school, like a couple of years back, one of his homies passed away, and he was asking me if I could retrieve information on a W30, but I never got around to helping him because I didn't know the keyboard. I didn't know what to do. I felt bad too. The family wanted to retrieve like the beats from their loved one that passed away. Used the W30. Yeah, Mo Fat. Yeah, I've always been interested. I've seen the purple one, the Planet Fat. And I just never, but I never used it. I seen it in the studio that I was in for a while. Never used it though. that the Planet Fat is the purple one with the like graffiti text on it. If my 808s are out of tune in this beat, like don't judge me. I was doing everything by ear on the just away from my computer over this sample, just adding drums. I'm thinking of like transferring this over and doing more stuff on it. There was another project that I did also. I think it was this one. The KO2 is fun, man. Yeah, the bass station that I did hear. I think even Havoc was using the bass station. Yeah, you said that, Nino, right there. I just read up to Preem, but yeah, he mentioned that a lot. So like, would you guys say that those samplers are or those romplers are still worth getting? The Proteus and the Planet Fat, or the, what is it? The Orbit or MoFat. Yeah. Are they hard to get? I don't. The Novation base station, didn't they reissue that not too long ago? Obviously, the OG is probably better sounding. Yeah, I just always saw like two, like they're one U, so I just would see like, a bunch of them stacked up, but I don't know if cause I was like, yo, should I get sometimes just to not have to go in the box? I'm like, should I get a like a Motif or Triton? Cause it's easier to like stay outside of the DAW if you have a sound module. Can't let the lips get chapped. If you can't get cheap right now, but if you can sample now and tweak your sounds, you got everything. That's true. That's why I always like. It's just certain things that sometimes, like, you want maybe like faster access to and not go into the box. Like, that's why you will see, obviously it's a sound, but everyone always had like a signature sound in a way, because like, let's say the Neptunes, they killed the Triton, obviously, like the Triton plus the ASR or whatever X sound module and the ASR and the MPC. So I've always thought of like, or a JV 1080 or one of those Roland ones, the 5080, the XV or whatever. I like the XV 5080. But yeah, like getting some of those rack units. Yeah, you mentioned that, Nev, the 1080, but I guess we all reading each other's minds. But yeah, they probably we probably fell victim to that old school marketing from back in the day. Let's all get the SU 700. Yeah, I got in and I saw who was it? Eddie Leonard, I think, using the SU 700, and I was like, oh wow, that looks cool. But I saw one in Guitar Center not too long ago, used one. I didn't cop it. I had the chance to buy it, but I was like, nah, because some things are like I don't want to spoil it for everybody else, type of thing. Maybe that's like I shouldn't think like that, but I'm just like, certain people, like, if that's their thing, like, let them have their own thing. I just did want, like, even though, like, obviously, the MP 2000 XL and the ASR 10 is the signature yay combo, but I also wanted to have a complementary setup because I had the Machina first. I had an MPC first, then I got the Machina MK1, then I got the XL again, and then I was missing something and I got the ASR. So it's kind of, it led me there anyway, but I wanted a complete setup. It wasn't really like, let me copy what somebody else has necessarily. Even though it was inspired, you're always inspired by your heroes. Yo, Lawrence 13, what's up, my brother? Nice to see you back. Yeah, especially the ones with the extra slots for the ROM, like the Pro Tools 2000 and MoFat. Even the MP7 Command Station, super powerful, also has extra slots. Adding more stuff to MIDI and turn on just ends up being a better idea than most times now. Yeah, bro, that's why I'm thinking of adding like either an Akai rack sampler or one of those rolling modules because I want to stay out of the box a little bit more. I'm like, as I mentioned before, I'm not a completely DAW-less producer, but using it in that way, I would consider it more. Besides just the ASR, because I also would like to dial in a classic rolling pad or something without having to get a Juno again. I have the ASR templated so I can use the approaches that each instrument has one bank in it, and I can change. Yeah, no, that's how it was being used. I think by the Neptunes with the Triton. So those things are powerful. These things obviously become more powerful because it's like now you have Omnisphere on a keyboard version or a module version instead of having to go put everything in the DAW or MIDI your sampler to the DAW, which you can, but I'm sure like using the modules and the racks is a lot more fun and a lot more convenient when you're still working in this old school way of like having the MPC be the master of your studio, and then everything else is MIDI'd up. I sample chords and stabs from the Orbit into the ASR, and I think it's amazing. Yeah, amazing. My fault, man. My Spanish is coming up. I have the ASR. I read that already. Lawrence 13. Yeah, if you can get a Triton rack, that's a good deal still. Yeah, I looked at that. Like getting the rack, or what was it? There's a rolling one that's like, I forget the name of it, but also the Roland MC 303 has an insane amount of presets for the money, like thousands of sounds. All right, thank you, Lawrence. I'll take a look at it. I love you guys' suggestions all the time, but just rack space wise, it makes a lot of sense for me to go that route. And I think a S series sampler is like just calling my name, man. Oh, you mean like sampling them and putting them on the Zulu Scuzzy, Nino? Then you get rid of it. Get rid of it after you sample everything. But I get it. Sometimes you go through a preset and on the rack itself you start editing it, or like let's say it has a reverb that now this time you ended up sampling it with more reverb. Obviously you could do that on the ASR, but some of these things too, like these explorations invite creativity. But if you don't got the space and they go up in value, then maybe you want to sell it too. Good idea. I got some core ideas I want to run through my from the moped. I just try avoiding becoming. Yeah, nah, man. I'm not a gear hoarder. Oh man, that was stolen too. I thought that was after the whole ordeal. But yeah, I saw that, man. Saw some of the guys here that come by here. He recently dropped the video, and we were supporting and stuff. So it's good to see like cross pollination in the community, man. Because we all part of like that same algorithm, quote unquote, of like we love sampling and samplers and people that use samplers. So always support each other, man. I'm always experimenting, says Ensoniq to Nino. I'm always the Z plane filters in those boxes incredible, so I keep it around. Yeah, you see, it could be a filter, it could be something that has warranted you keeping it around. Yeah, you see, you got the Triton and the Phantom in there, so you might feel like you don't need it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because like even like I remember when I had the 106, just playing with the ADSR and the way that felt, it was like it was different each time I used the pad on the Juno. So it's hard sometimes to recreate that feeling of like being able to modify the envelope on on the original synth itself. And I know I miss that. I miss that a lot. Yeah, the Integra. That's what I was talking about or referring to. You guys, I must be a good describer, or you guys are just good like geniuses when it comes to gear. Cause anything I'm thinking of, you guys always be like, "Oh, you talking about this guy? You talking about this instrument?" So I love that, man. Cause I have like such, and I guess as the night progresses, my memory just starts to shoot, like go blank. um, can be a fork and spoon with a metronome, whatever works. Yeah. Yeah, he's always like adding stuff. Hopefully I seen him on the channel like supporting and watching some of the videos. Hopefully he comes on the live one day and we could pick his brain as to like what his setup is, cuz I know that then he had like 2 KO2s or 4. The guy he's a machine, bro. He's a creative machine, bro. I love his explorations. Rolling Sonic cell. It's an entire Phantom X in a box the size of a personal pizza for like 250 U's. People still don't know about it. Nice, man. I'm gonna bring. I'm gonna remind myself. I found it in my closet where I'm keeping my Sound on Sound magazines. When I was subscribed, I got like about a neat like a waist high collection of some old Sound on Sound magazines, and then vinyls too, man. I would love to like go through some of that stuff. Just like we found this cool trans wave disc. Yeah, all of these are some of these are working. So like I'm always curious if it was on one of these discs, the Jake one, this one that says like electric bass, but I don't know if this is corrupted. Like some of these are corrupted, but he said one time in one of those like making of like, oh yeah, it's just the bass from one of the stock and that came stock with the ASR. So if anybody knows what the famous Jake One bass that he uses is from, let me know or let us know. I'm just curious because he's a big inspiration to me. You see, man, that's another one that I've been saying, and thanks Lawrence and Nino has and others have put us on to different like things that are gems that you wouldn't know if you wasn't here. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate my community and our community for coming by and like blessing us with the gems. You don't gotta spend $4,000 on an MPC 3000 to get good sound. We're gonna have people come through and bless y'all with the sleepers. Yeah, bro. I still got my Sound on Sound magazines. I used to read the digital copies too. Like obviously go on the website and search because I love the articles. Okay, a Moog bass. This disc also has like a res bass. It says res bass one. Could it be this one? Res bass one, or was it on the Wave Boys discs? Let's see. I don't know if this is one of the ones that it's corrupt. Yeah, you see this software error because it doesn't have probably the cap. Slap bass, bass bank. Oh, maybe it load. Oh, look, it is loading it now. Bank load complete. Yeah, yeah. This data is corrupted. Uh, there are some dope interviews. Yeah, I love the interviews on Sound on Sound. They interviewed quite a few engineers. Jimmy Douglas, Premier. Yeah, a lot of people. I know 40 did one with Drake. I have some of the newer Sound on Sound magazines. I think I subscribed to Sound on Sound like um I don't know 2010 around there. Nah, I don't got the Wave Boy disc. I'm contemplating on buying them like at original price, but I know they're around. I just like people still consider it pirating, even though they don't make. I mean, they still sell them. That's why. So I never thought about like burning them, or getting copies from other people because I want to support software engineers. Obviously, I don't have the Wave Boy, and is it worth it for those of you guys that do have it? Is it worth it? I know now everything's on the internet. Yeah, no, that one disc, but I've seen these discs like flying around the internet before, so I know I could get that if I want. And then there's another copy of my OS. You probably can't see it, but I copy the OS on everything. I probably make like 5 more copies when I get off. I do it every time I find my blank discs. I'm just like, oh, let me. I think these I bought recently. They yeah, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, because I bought 10 floppies recently. This is a backup of the OS. Also, I'll make like a few copies. This gray one stands out, so I made that like a OS copy. And I don't save on these floppies anymore. Okay. I mean, I don't know if that's legal. But yeah, if I and then if I could figure out how to actually get it on my SCSI, bro. See, this one has like a bass in it. Maybe this guy had a good bass. I can't even get this guy with that upside down, I guess. You gotta grab the floppy disk the right way. Yeah, like tonight, obviously the stream's been going on crazy because more people than I thought showed up. But I mainly wanted to show like what I was doing on the KO2 throughout the week because I haven't been in the studio and just catch up with you guys for the most part. This data corrupted. Well, now we know why Nino doesn't like floppy disks because this data will be corrupted after a while, right? Temperature, man, these things might have gotten wet at some point. Another copy of the OS that I made. You can never have too many copies of the operating system, right? See, these two are stuck together. They're like probably. I've gone through most of these floppies myself though, and what I did do was I made copies of the sounds that I liked, even if they were like the sounds from that person that sold it to me. And it was fun. It was fun like going through all of these when I first bought my ASR before I started making my own beats. But yeah, that was a rabbit hole of like, do you have a floppy emulator on your ASR-10? And the answer was no, I don't, because I still use floppy. I still use the floppy part of it. Yeah, that's the reason why I never bought it, because it's too expensive. If you load the instrument, just use command system. Yeah, that's what I was doing before. And I do have I believe I have the let me connect the Zulu actually. I haven't connected this to the ASR in ages. Not ages, but like at least when did I have my studio? 2020, like 2020, 2022 or around there. That's when I bought the Zulu SCSI. Obviously, I would have to be able to connect it first. Hold on, give me a second, guys. Yeah, so I might have to just do that on stream one day. Like, you guys help me. Let me see. People haven't figured out to make their own floppy, but then again, I don't know. Yeah, floppies are a bad medium. Yeah, the Ensoniq data 10,000 beats. Yeah, no, I gotta get it. Like you said, I gotta get my template formatted. Like the concept of it. And it says like unconnected SCSI device. I think it's because I plugged it in after. Let me try to like restart it without a, because I think that if I'm not mistaken, excuse me, I had already let me see. Please insert disk. So I don't have this card for whatever reason. I probably never formatted it, or I did and then erased it and got frustrated. Take a OS because it's saying please insert disk. So I definitely don't have the OS on the SCSI. Resave the sounds in the session, including the instruments themselves, the sequence, and the bank. Then when you load the bank in the folder, it pulls right there. Yeah, that's what I remember. You save it as a bank, and then you save everything there. Yeah, like if you save your instruments all on one floppy, and then you have to load the instrument banks from other floppy. Yeah, no, I did it before, but now it's powered. It has power running to it. Yeah, I would, Lawrence. I wouldn't replace it. I would just add the Zulu SCSI on it. I would keep it stock. I did put the compact flash reader. Um, I got this tutorial bank at least on this OS copy. But yeah, command system change storage device. I would have to partition this whole thing again, I think, because it says is there a SCSI drive number that I should be on? I have 7. It says SCSI 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know if I already did like one of the steps. Trying to figure out the Zulu SCSI for like 10 years now. Or whenever it came out, I bought it right away, and then I was just like, I never understood it. And then I'm just like, I went out of my way to make sure whatever ASR. Oh, you see 4 or 5. So I should be on 4 or 5 maybe. What? Why is my? Oh. Yeah, so I went out of my way to make sure whatever ASR I bought has SCSI. Because everybody's like, you got to make sure you get the one with the SCSI. Get the one with the SCSI. Don't touch 3. Just don't use 3. Don't touch 3. You see? Things I don't know, man. This is why I like having you guys here in the room, because it's like Claude or ChatGPT wouldn't be able to tell me this, because you guys are real ASR users. Load device 4. Unconnect the SCSI device. I don't know. Did I do something wrong? Unconnect the SCSI device. That's all I keep saying. Unconnect the SCSI device. Maybe they're not it's not formatted or something. 1, yeah. It just says unconnected. Yeah, I'm intimidated, man, by the Zulu SCSI stuff. The drive image file. I had it before, but I think I made a mistake, like you guys said, and I might have used it without the power. Was experimenting, and then I ended up maybe formatting. I formatted, and then it kind of messed things up for me. And I'm not able to do that directly on the ASR. Like, I have, obviously the floppy with the OS in there. There's not a way that you could start. Okay, you have to use like translator and then add it to the micro SD card. Man, I don't even think I have the adapter for the micro SD to put it in one of my readers. Maybe on the other readers that I have. Yeah, this is like a new card reader. And then I have my other card reader somewhere around here. Just looking, but I'll dig it up somehow and do more research. But yeah, that's why I haven't ever saved on my ASR. If you guys want me to be honest, it's because of my own ignorance of like not understanding SCSI and not formatting things, breaking things. And I was just like, man, for me, because I don't understand, obviously it was a waste of money. Okay. Yeah, because anything from 0 to 7 is like not even like rocking with it. I'm going to just go back to floppy. It says this command completed. And I could sample into the ASR. But yeah, I would love to like get my head wrapped around that. I keep saying it. But I've never used, I guess, the full power of my ASR because of that misunderstanding of not knowing how to format. And at one point when I first got it, obviously like they mail it to you with it on there. I think it was working, or maybe I even did it through the computer. That I spent days like messing with it, and then when I couldn't figure it out, I just threw it to the side and kept working back my own way, because I felt like it was delaying my creativity so much. Okay. Yeah, Nino also offered to help before. I just haven't gotten around to taking on the hand. The helping hand. Yeah, I remember downloading Translator and being more confused with that. I know, man. I guess if I understood it more, I would also save more on the ASR because I would just leave that like it's plugged in there back there. I got a power supply on it and everything. But at some point, I don't know what I did, and then I'm just like, I confused myself. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up like just doing beats throughout the day on the ASR and then dumping them into Logic. And I literally just I turn off my ASR at the end of the night, and then it's like whatever sound I did, however I modeled it, I can never re-get it. I can never get it back. So it's like whatever was done that day, that's what it is, and that's probably limiting in a way. Obviously, I'm not using the saving structure of it, and I don't know. Like I can't say like that's a reason why maybe a lot of people moved on from it, right? Nobody talks about that. Everyone talks about the magic of the ASR, but to me, like, in 2026, that's not an easy concept to understand, especially like I'm like the generation right after like floppies, the CD generation and that stuff. So those concepts are like maybe a little bit more archaic and don't exist anymore. So if you're not like super super intelligent, you may not be able to understand it and say, oh wait, so what do I do now? Like how do I say I can't save, or like I have to do it this way? And then somebody might just get an MPC 61 instead of ASR in 20, obviously now in 2026. But that's part of the frustration of working with vintage samplers. If you don't come from that era or that knowledge base of knowing how the file structure works, then you're kind of handicapped. Like I feel handicapped in a way by not knowing it. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta reread that chapter. I remember I remember coming across it, and this is a service manual, musician's manual. I remember like reading the part of it because there was one manual that I was like, SCSI interface right here, operation manual, SCSI interface. And this was talking to me about what is SCSI, setup guide. The priority ID number, booting up SCSI. So it's just me reading this. And even the Mac, bro, like they had a old Mac that had a SCSI like connector on it. You could connect it right to your ASR. A Macintosh 2. Remember, you guys are like really smart because look at what set the SCSI to any number except 3. Just like you guys told me, except 3. That's my new homework right here. reread this part of I was lucky enough to get this with the purchase, the operation manual SCSI interface. Obviously this is also available online if you go into the Facebook group and just obviously Google it. But I'm gonna make it a point to read this before I keep complaining about the amazing Zulu SCSI, because the guy that made it or the people that made it probably saved all of us a lot of headaches, and it's just my ignorance at the moment. Beat 2 if you need more than 38 beats for the month. Okay. I dream of the day, and it's probably soon, maybe this month or this week. This week I may be off from work, which is a good thing because I could work more on music. But maybe it's the time right now that I have, like, I think I'm gonna keep this this setup. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about the? I think I like this setup. I think because of my cable length, obviously I needed to keep this mixer here. I would have liked the MPC here and the mixer next to it, but is better for, I think, the view when I do stream making beats, to have the ASR in front of me here and you guys could see it, then giving my back, because then I'll be chopping it up with, like, side profile instead of like back to the camera. But then now I could save. Once I figure out the Zulu SCSI this week, I'm gonna find my card reader. I have my card reader to connect to the laptop, and then I'm gonna get that image, because I know on the Facebook group they put that they upload that stuff all the time. Everyone's always asking the same questions, probably like I am right now. And you guys are saving me, bro. Getting the Zulu working would be way easier than you think. You drag and drop one file on the SD card and you're done. It. Well, thank you, Ensoniq. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it this week if I have time. I also gotta find my my card reader. I didn't even realize the time, guys. Talking to you guys is just like I lose track of time. That's a good thing, Oh, I don't know why I closed the chat. But yeah, this live stream will be changed. Even though, damn, Nino, I got you again, bro. I bamboozled you. I didn't cook up. It'll be called a check-in, because it was a check-in on Monday. I'm trying to slowly, like, get into a rhythm, but it's hard because of my work. The nature of my work is very spontaneous, and I'm not able to obviously, like, have a consistent stream schedule, because this is not my full-time thing. I'm a professional recording engineer and a producer. Production is like the hobby that I love, and I put out my own records and also help other artists put out records. So I guess that's how I would define myself. But I also like to stream and talk to people about the process and show even, like, my own gripes with certain things that I don't understand, because we're all learning. I mean, I'm learning. And sometimes I cook up. Sometimes I actually cook up on stream from scratch. No, man. Nino, you don't gotta apologize, man. Every time you apologize, but every time you You give me amazing information, and everyone has amazing information thanks to you. We see it on the screen, and it'll be there. Sometimes I feel like I talk too much, and it's my channel, like, But I look at it as a community. Like, we're all in the room together. It just happens to be that it's my face on the video, but we're all just like hanging out. This is dope. If you guys think it, obviously the feedback that I get from you guys is that it is dope. So, talk. Anybody could talk, man, unless you saying some wild stuff. Like, you got to get muted, but that hasn't happened. Thank you, Nev. Thank you for contributing, man. Like, you guys are so smart. And I mean that with the utmost respect and authenticity. Yeah, Heatwave. These guys, man, Ensoniq too, man. Thank you, Nino, as always. And Nev Ed. I'm gonna remember that now. And Lawrence 1-3 too, man. You came through and dropped gems and just like I know you always participate also. Nah, bro. Like, keep participating, I enjoy it because it's what makes it. Otherwise, I would just like be talking into a void, which I know that's the fear of every live streamer and everybody that comes on social media. It'll be like, what do we talk about in news today? I started with that, like talking about the firmware update of the KO2 because nobody was here yet. But once you guys came in and started talking, I'm like, that directs the conversation, and it's amazing. It's amazing to have, like, there's been like at least 10 people for the most part in the room while we're here, and that's imagine 10 people in the studio, bro. Like, that's a lot of people. It's just always gonna be certain people that feel more comfortable giving information or sharing some knowledge. So it's nothing wrong with talking. Oh, word, man, the focals, bro. I'm gonna do that next stream. And thank you for watching, even though it said cookup. I forgot to change it to check-in, which I do from time to time, where we just like talk, because the whole day I was like cleaning up the studio and putting things in different areas, and then I finally found my MIDI cables, finally found all the wires. So if you see back here, I have channel 1 and 2 is the MPC, 3 and 4 is the ASR-10, and then the microphone is 5, and I forgot what this is. No, the microphone, I think the microphone is 5. No, it's not. 6. Something else. It might be the. See, I even forget. Oh no, yeah, that's the 3 and 4. So yeah, it's the MPC, the ASR, and the microphone. That's the 3 things that are connected. It's getting late. I'm getting confused myself to the mixer. And then the KO2 is connected directly into the ASR, but then one of the outs of the Yamaha is going through the KO2. So I could basically sample from the KO2 into the ASR, and then the Akai, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a turntable and put it next to the MPC eventually next to it. But yeah, I've been rearranging the studio and obviously keeping the star of the show closer. Nino says, Heat's my only fellow ASR user. I had to verify if something was broken in the last 2 years. He could test my theory and I could see if I was bugging or it was my machine on some. That's dope, man. That's dope that you guys were able to help each other out. And if I'm ever on here, you want me to try something, um, I'm more than happy to do so. Let me create new instrument. I said I was gonna do this, and I don't want to come off like I did it. And then command layer, new layer, command wave, create new wave sample. That was the tone that we were talking about. I guess you could make a bass out of that. Filter it. If you got that's I said I'd be going on tangents, man. Reloop 7000 MK2. Yeah, that I could go 78 RPM. I've been looking at the reloops. I was looking at the Audio Technica that I think Lawrence suggested or somebody did. I was looking at a Technique 1200, but also like maybe I could get something new and just walk into the store and not have to make sure I get something. Okay, so there we go. We got 2 volts for the RP 7000 MK2. I mean, you could keep buying stuff, especially if you need it. Like I don't have a turntable, so this is something that I need in my eyes. Okay, dope. I'm kind of sold because I was eyeing that and an Audio Technica one that goes 78 RPM too, but the reloop. If you guys are using it and liking it, then um I'm rocking with it too. Yeah, and if Nino says it's fantastic, I trust his taste in gear. So, but I am looking at getting a Vestax PMC 05 mixer. Yeah, the tech. I mean, in New York, you could find 1200s like not too expensive, probably even cheaper than the 7,000 maybe. And those are still available new. I was looking. That's all I've been looking at this week. Kind of. It's just I've been avoiding the gas, obviously, of the new Akai stuff. Not that it gives me gas, or at least a lot. Besides the little MPC sample, and it's back ordered anyway. Which I don't even think by the time it is, I would buy it. But like I was saying to somebody else that came in earlier, I usually buy things that I need. Like I need a turntable because I have a lot of vinyl and I don't have no way to sample it right now. I just didn't want to get something like whack. This black one looks dope too, the reloop one. It has that look anyway too. I had a Gemini, like the a cheap Gemini. It sucked. It was like wobbly, warped. I had the Shure M44, and then I had an Audio Technica, like a regular Audio Technica needle. Yeah, the Stantons are classics, man. Yeah, I really love like the Vestax, the PMZ 05. I think the 3 or whatever is Pro 3 or something like that. Just love the look of it next to an MPC. So I'm planning on like having the vest tax like right here next to the MPC, and then I have enough space to put the turntable over there. And I might change the lens. Like I have this is a 17 millimeter. I have an 11, which will give me like a wider shot, and maybe we could see the turntable too when I put that lens on this camera. So we could have more fun, like I don't know if I'll get copyright strikes, but we could sample vinyl. Like instead of me sampling from the faux, even though Ensoniq likes it, like sampling from the faux cows, it's more like it is more of a necessity or like a workaround. And look, it like it caught somebody's eye, but I do it because I don't have a turntable at the moment. Yeah, I was also thinking of going like budget with the turntable and like, but now I want to get something that's okay. Yeah, your signal flow. The Allen and Heath though usually has good preamps on it, so it just might be like you may want to go more direct from the rain to a sampler right away, probably. Because the aux sends on the Allen and Heath might not be. Sometimes the aux sends are not the same quality converters as like the main outs of the Allen and Heath board. Yeah, and if you have preamps, it's all what works, man. Sometimes even that is, but signal flow right. Yeah, I see they're like 680 stock now for the 7,000. I think the Audio Technica that I was eyeing was around the same. No, it was 400, but it might not have reverse. And this is quartz driven too, just like a 1200. And like you said, it has that immediate like stop. Yeah, the needle head that I mean the cartridge that I had is the ATVM 95 Audio Technica. It sounded all right. I still have that, but maybe I'll try something different. Ortofon or something like that. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Those always caught my eye. Yeah, I mean, this price range is a little bit like, oh man, but that's what an old 1200 cost. More than that, a good one is like $900, almost 1,000 nowadays. My bad, I closed the chat, even though I have it right up here though. Yeah, but I like the aux sends on the board because I run one line into each sampler and computer one line each other side. The board gets two tracks and I can mute left and right. Yeah, I run everything. Then Nev says I run everything through Range 70, specifically the 8-track version, which has slightly heavier low end. Nino says, and I set it up where I can sample my outs back in by turning the same aux from my ASR MPC to themselves with effects to avoid slow ASR resample. I've been using Ortofon. Yeah, that's the ones I was looking at. I like the Ortofons. One time I went to a record store that had them, and I was like, oh, I want to try these next time. Yeah, Nino, no, that's how I'm. Like for me, and again, that's dope, man. Like you don't always have to go direct from mixer to the. For me, it's just like a space thing. Like even though I could get cables, I'm most likely gonna have the turntable here, and the mixer next to the MPC. So there's a high chance that I'll be sampling like into the MPC directly from whatever mixer I get. Hopefully, I get the best tax that I'm eyeing. Um, and then, but when I go into the ASR, what I'm doing right now is I have this has multiple outs, the Yamaha MG12. So I have like outside of the stereo outs, there's also what they call group outs, but they have these stereo outs through quarter inch or XLR, and they both sound right. So I'm using that to go into the KO2 with this eighth inch, you know, and from the KO2 I go into the ASR. Sounds great. Sometimes I even sample into the KO2 and then play the sample as a sample back, because it's different obviously when you sample it or run it through the input monitoring. So there's no right or wrong way to signal flow. It's kind of what works for your studio. I wouldn't let anybody else tell you otherwise. If you figured out that it's convenient for you that way, then it works. And the Allen and Heath is, I love Allen and Heath stuff. Yeah. The Allen and Heath board has 16 direct outs I use for tracking into converters. I set them to pulse fader so I can use EQ to each track. Yep. That's the way to do it, man. If you have a mixer, and I know you're like mostly, I mean, all completely out of the box. So I dream of the day that I can have, this has all been kind of, for me, build as you go setup. I've been intentional with most of the pieces, but some of the pieces that I've been able to get or have gotten are just kind of like, I walked into B&H one time and they had this like open box on sale for like dirt cheap. And I'm like, all right, let me get that. I need a mixer. I didn't get enough time to like research the mixer that I was going to get, but I had worked with the Yamahas in a live setting before this same model. So I was like, oh yeah, the guy that I work for has that. It's reliable. Let me get it. It wasn't like I was able to get the one that I wanted when it came to the mixer, you know. And some of the other things, like I used to have, I mentioned it before, the RME UFX Plus, which was married to an Orion, and I had a bunch of converters, but now I just got 2 channels on this UAD Solo. So eventually I would like to get it to RME again and do maybe a Matty face and use like the Pharaoh fish as we mentioned before. But one thing at a time, and it's money, obviously. And that's true. Dope, brother. Yeah, my engineer, Dan Walker, he had put me up onto the Pharaoh fish stuff. I love the Allen and Heath mixers. That's what I would have wanted to get, but yeah, that's not a bad deal, man. I remember paying 1,900 for the Fireface UFX Plus Matty version, but that's quite a deal. And I love Total Mix too. One of the things that I was able to actually wrap my head around was Total Mix. I like Total Mix a lot, and the just the reliability of the Army stuff is, it's undeniable. Shout out to my boy Devani Justin Rodriguez. He putting his whole government out there. He put me on to RME stuff years ago, and I almost went with the baby face, but I was like, I was doing a lot of vocal tracking, so the UAD made sense at the moment. But I want to go back to RME. Nev Ed. Yeah, the Rosettas, man. Those you could get for dirt cheap sometimes. People be giving them away. Oh man, that's a sign already, bro. I gotta start heading to bed. I really want to get a Tascam model 2400 board. I know it's not much of a color board in terms of how it sounds, but working with a DAW interface, I feel slowing me. Yeah, man. Like I'm bipolar. I go back and forth. Damn, I feel like I'm having a hard time staying up now. But not because you guys are. It's just I've been overworked, man, in the last few weeks. But just because peace, Ensoniq, man. I gotta go to. I'm gonna go after probably this small comment. Yeah, the more I get the studio where I want it, the more I'm like trying to stay out of the box, you know. And if I once I figure out, and this week I'm gonna work on it. If I don't work as much as I was the last few, um, peace. Yo, I love you guys, man. You guys are. I like the friendship that you guys have amongst each other, because I know y'all know each other from like maybe other channels or just the community in general. I love to see it. But yeah, the more I wrap my head around the Zulu, SCSI, which once I find my card reader, I'll be on that, and I get the studio like organized in the order that I want, the turntable and stuff, I'm gonna be working more and more out of the box. Like that's just where my head is at too. Cause even working on the KO2 at work the other day, like that's what made me even contemplate a little bit on the MPC sample. But I'm like I'm over it, man. Cause I'm like old school. My mind thinks old school. I can't deal with this new technology that much. Yo, you think there's not that many out there? You know, I'm gonna leave with that little comment. Like once you put me on, there's not a lot of people in the ASR community anymore. I feel like there's a lot. Or maybe there's not a lot. Like they're all hiding and they're working instead of. Yeah, peace, Sonic. Thank you for stopping by, brother, man. I'm like so grateful. Yo, Nino, put me on, man. I know you just joking, man, but I'm like, I know there's more people using ASR than just Freeplay and everybody that comes to my live when I hop on. Oh yeah, but people that actually, cause yeah, a lot of people that have them, they're like, I see them on the forums asking, and then I think they get rid of them quick because they realize like the gripes of it. Yeah, I saw a clean. They're selling a clean EPS 16. I think close to my sister up there in Providence, but it's like $1,000. Remember seeing them for like 400, like in 2021 around there for a 16 plus, like maxed out. That was a good price. 1,000 is kind of like a little bit too much. I love all the Sonic stuff too, man. I want to get a DP4 plus. Yeah, man. I think that's a fair price, like 500, 4 to 500. And again, I'm not anybody to be setting the price on these things. Yeah, we talked about it. I think you said 800. Mm. I mean, if I already have an ASR, would I get? I don't have space to be putting keyboards on keyboard racks and then not be able to use them. But if I didn't have an ASR and I had to start over, I would be heavily looking into an EPS-16 plus, like maxed out, or max it out myself like later on. I mean, I'm thinking Nino's probably thinking like me. Like, do you need a EPS-16 if you're not a collector? You're actually working on them. But it doesn't hurt to have one in the stash, because I feel like that would be my backup plan. Like, let's say yeah, no, I do think it's better, but I already had the ASR, so I'm like, I can't go back. It doesn't have that heating issue. Good thing, like my AC is on and in the room, and this thing is like, you can almost not, you can't fry an egg on it. I'm exaggerating, but it's hot. Like, the bottom, obviously this is a M1 Pro. Like, my laptop has been streaming 4K, and it's mad. It's obviously new, or newer, because this laptop is a M1 Pro, so it's still like maybe over 5 years old. But my ASR-10 is hot. Like, I probably get like uncomfortably hot if I leave my arm here right now. That doesn't happen with the EPS-16, to my understanding. Yeah. No, yeah. I agree. I could only say I agree, because it's like, I'm gonna be saying the same thing you're saying, because I agree with those statements. Yeah, the ASR, it is for the nerds and for the people that won't get frustrated at the fact that you have to put in the time to really understand it and really know it. Yeah, the ASR has a harder time doing that straight up boom bap than the EPS classic, like you said. You know, what about the 16 plus? Is that like a middle ground, or are you just talking about the classic? Yeah, yeah. So I think that might be a good middle ground too. I've always been attracted more to the 16 plus, kind of like as a middle ground between EPS and 16, and not the 10 with all the complications that come from it. Even having to have to wrap your head around like the envelopes that we were talking about last time, modulation and things like that. Trans waves is a whole nother uh, wormhole. You see them sometimes from time to time. Yeah, I love that about the 16 plus, the variable sample rate on the way in. Yeah, I have it on my desk. There's decent ventilation here. I don't think it's bad, but the ASR-10 that's notorious, man. Like, the the overheating. You know what's weird though? That somebody was telling me that my screen was dying, right? Like 3 years ago, like it would load up with a character missing, and then the character would appear, and now it stopped doing that. I'm knocking on wood, but that's not real wood, but stop doing that. So hopefully it's not dying. Yeah, I remember I saw the sample track too come on the radar. But damn, 50, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, the older, the more simpler the machine. So I have I opened my ASR to change the keys before. Those broken keys I had right here. These three. It was like three keys that were like popped off and one was cracked. What's the sampler? What's the sampler for $100? We're gonna do instead of eBay, it's gonna be Freeplay. It's all right. I read it as genre. Maybe it's getting late for me too. Heat. I'm gonna give Nino a list of the samplers that I'm looking at. Okay, is that an emu? I'm not in the market for that, so I'll let somebody else get on that. Nice. There you go. I'm gonna leave y'all with that gem, man. I'm gonna call it because I gotta be up in a few hours, and I've had enough fun with you guys for tonight. That way, when I hop back on, we got more dope stuff to talk about. Hopefully, I got my Zulu stuff figured out by then, and let's see how the week pans out. Maybe I'll have the turntable by then as well, and more cool sampler stuff would have happened. Thank you guys for rocking with me, man. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave the live stream uploading overnight. Thank you, Cash. Thank you, Nino. Thank you, Ensoniq again, Lawrence 13, everybody else that hopped on the live stream. Heat. Let me not forget you, my brother. But I hope I gave everybody a shout out. My boy from Poland, Fish. I don't know, he didn't make it. But yeah, man, shout out to everybody that's been supporting the streams, the channel, and the community, man. Thank you guys for the knowledge. I hope this transmission was good and not choppy. Tried new lights, new studio setup, and on the next one, I hope to be cooking up, man. It's your boy Freeplay, and thank you guys for always rocking with me. Peace. I'm out.